Gillian revealed that they were on their way to meet the vanguard. The scene shifted as the group arrived at a wooden house nestled deep within the forest. Belinda remarked that the house appeared abandoned, but Fergus confirmed that this was the correct address. When Ricardo knocked on the door, it was opened by a massive, disheveled man with long, unkempt hair. The man peered at them suspiciously and demanded to know who they were. Everyone except Jin was taken aback by the man's appearance. Belinda leaned toward her master, whispering her doubts about the individual's suitability, noting that he looked frail and unlikely to survive another day, let alone fight. Jin, unfazed, assured her that they were in the right place. The man, noticing Jin's noble bearing, dismissed him as a bored young aristocrat and turned to leave, telling them to go away. However, Gin called out to him, addressing him as the ex-captain of the Regressed Mercenaries and referring to him by name Gillian. The call stopped the man in his tracks. Gillian turned sharply, his expression a mix of surprise and caution. With a calm smile, Gin told him that he had long wanted to meet him. The rest of the group was stunned to learn that the seemingly destitute man before them had once led the legendary Regressed Mercenaries, a group renowned for requiring mastery of nearly all weapons from its members. Though the group no longer existed, their valor and reputation remained so great that even knights in foreign lands knew their name at least once. Gillian stepped back and bowed his head in gratitude, acknowledging that Gin must have come to this remote place with a purpose. He confessed that all he had left was his body and offered to become Gin's servant, or even his dog, if that was what he desired. Gin dismissed the man's offer, stating firmly that he wanted neither a slave nor a servant. Instead, he declared that he sought the captain of the Regressed Mercenaries. As Gillian raised his head, he noticed something ambition of a dreamer. Inspired, Gillian stood up and grabbed an axe, using it to cut off his long ponytail. The group watched in awe and fear as the man's demeanor transformed. Without the ponytail, Gillian looked like an entirely different person, more alive, determined, and ready to act. Moving toward his weapons, Gillian asked if there were others accompanying Jin, or if anyone might come looking for him. Jin confirmed that his group was the only one present. Gillian then inquired whether Gazan had enemies, to which Gazan admitted he did, and added that he would likely gain more. Gillian picked up a spear and wrapped a rope around it. With swift precision, he hurled the spear through the wooden wall of the house, sending it deep into the forest outside. The forest destroyed part of the wall, and the group watched as the spear found its target. Gillian pulled the spear back toward him, using the rope demonstrating his formidable skill. The scene left everyone in the room silent, their awe at Gillian's transformation evident. As the spear re-entered the house, it became clear that Gillian had spearfished an assassin. The weapon had struck the figure directly in the chest, leaving him struggling to free himself without hesitation. Gillian grabbed the assassin by the neck and demanded to know who had sent him. The assassin, revealed to be a member of the WILDCATs, appeared stunned that Gillian had detected him. Gillian turned to Jin, asking what he wanted to do with the captive. Jin, already suspecting who had sent the assassin, placed his hand on his sword, but remarked that he had no desire to draw it again that day. Gillian intervened, placing a hand on Jin's hilt to stop him, smiling faintly. He assured GL that he would handle the matter with a swift motion. Gillian snapped the assassin's neck, killing him instantly. Bowing respectfully, he turned back to Ghislain. Belinda, watching the scene unfold, was shaken by Gillian's lack of hesitation in killing. She struggled to understand why her master would want to recruit someone so dangerous. Kneeling before Jin, Gillian swore his loyalty, pledging to place his life in Jin's hands. Jin, recognizing the value of having such a power ally for his reconstruction plans, accepted the pledge with a smile, expressing his eagerness to work with Gillian. The narrative shifted to a cabin deep in the woods, where a group of wildcats was gathered. A trafficker reported to the group that one of their members had been killed. The news caused shock and unrest among the group, prompting their leader Viego to demand silence, apologizing for the commotion. The traffickers explained that Bernard had assured them that Jin would neither locate their reconnaissance unit nor be capable of killing them. Viego questioned whether the reconnaissance team had made mistakes or been given bad intelligence. One of his subordinates, trembling, revealed that Gillian had joined Jin's group. Startled, Joe grabbed the subordinate by the neck and demanded confirmation. The man nervously insisted he was certain. Recounting that he had seen it with his own eyes, hearing this, Viego smiled, expressing satisfaction that his former captain was finally taking action. The scene transitioned back to Gillian, who was traveling through the woods with Jin and the others in a carriage. Belinda, feeling cramped, complained about the sheer volume of weapons Gillian had brought along. She asked Jin whether it was truly necessary to transport so many, remarking that a sword or two should have sufficed. She expressed disbelief that they had been forced to purchase another carriage to accommodate Gillian's arsenal. Gazan calmly reminded her that they already needed an extra carriage to ensure Rachel traveled comfortably. He assured her it was not a problem and asked her to endure it, for now emphasizing that their primary concern was escaping the ravine. Belinda then inquired whether the captured assassin had been sent by Amelia Ginn, confirmed her suspicion hearing this. Belinda explained that the mask worn by the assassin was a symbol associated with the WILDCAT traffickers, a powerful and notorious guild. Enrolled Gazan, surprised, asked her to elaborate. According to Belinda, the WILDCAT traffickers specialized in smuggling assassination drugs, human trafficking, and other illicit activities comprised of skilled former mercenaries. The guild wielded significant combat power and was regarded as a shadowy and dangerous organization. Jin, curious, asked how Belinda had come to know this information. Despite spending most of her time in the castle, the maid revealed that she had learned about such matters before entering her role as handmaid. She urged her master to exercise caution, emphasizing the WILDCAT's persistence and ruthlessness. Gin, smiling confidently, assured her that he would be fine, reminding her that they had Gillian on their side. Immediately after this statement, something emerged from the ground. After the carriage passed by, the figures began chasing the carriage, and Gillian sensed their presence as the figures closed in. They leapt out of the ground, revealing themselves to be wildcats. The wildcats launched an attack on Gillian, catching him off guard with their ambush. He responded swiftly, drawing both an axe and a sword to block their assaults. With precise movements, he severed one's hand using the axe and then drove it into the chest of another. Before the injured wildcat could retaliate, Gillian ripped his head apart and both bodies fell lifeless to the ground. As the men fell, their remaining allies released ropes that triggered massive trees to drop onto the carriage. Gillian, surprised by the trap, heard Belinda warned that the trees could crush them. Reacting quickly, he seized the ropes and slowed the horse, narrowly avoiding disaster. However, the path was now obstructed. Jin remarked that he had anticipated the ambush nearby. Wildcat traffickers began to close in, and one of them, Viego, addressed Gillian directly. He referred to Gillian as the former captain of the Regressed Mercenaries, a title that visibly startled him. Viego accused him of cowardice, claiming he had disbanded the entire group for the sake of his daughter. Stepping down from the carriage, Gillian denied any knowledge of the accusations. Viego, visibly irritated, countered by blaming Gillian for the life he had been forced to endure. He questioned whether Gillian had grown so senile that he couldn't recall his past. Comrades, Gillian offered no response, which further convinced Viego that he was feigning ignorance with a smirk. Viego declared that he would force Gillian to remember and commanded his men to attack the attackers, advanced quickly, prompting Jin to offer his assistance. Gillian, however, declined, stating that Viego clearly had personal business with him. He assured Jin that he could handle the situation alone before the wildcats could strike Gillian, infused his axe with mana, and dispatched 4 attackers in a single devastating swing. The sight of this stunned the remaining assailant, who surged forward in a renewed attack, drawing his short sword. Gillian struck down the first who approached. With his axe, stabbed the second through the neck and cleaved the third in half. After reflecting their strike, Gio observed these feats with a little surprise, recognizing that Gillian's strength had not waned. He instructed his men to split into 2 groups and encircle Gillian as they moved to execute the order. Gillian mounted a horse, drawing a larger axe and spinning it menacingly. Charging at the wildcats, he unleashed a mana-enhanced strike that decimated several attackers. The remaining wildcats, hesitant to approach, shifted their focus to the horse. But before they could act, Gillian attached a rope to his axe and swung it in a deadly swirl, cutting through their ranks. Belinda watched in disbelief as Gillian dispatched his opponents with his men, defeated. Viego launched a direct assault, sensing the attack. Gillian equipped a shield to block the strike. Viego accused him of ruining his life and vowed to kill him. With 3 blades in hand, Viego hurled them at Gillian's horse, bringing the animal down. Gillian dismounted just before the fall, landing on the ground only to face an incoming blade drawing a smaller axe. He blocked the attack and firmly denied. Being the captain of the Ratas mercenaries, he struck Vigeo's ribs with his shield, forcing him to retreat. Vigeo demanded an explanation, asking Gillian to reveal his identity, if not the captain. Gillian replied that he had abandoned his past and now served as Jin's subordinate. The declaration angered Vigeo, who charged forward, vowing to kill Gillian at any cost. Gillian parried the attacks as Vigeo pressed his sword into the shield. Vigeo revealed that the mercenary company had disbanded after Gillian's departure, lamenting that he had lost his purpose and fallen into a disgraceful existence just to survive. Gillian deflected the sword and countered with a swing of his axe. Vigeo evaded by dropping low and quickly retaliated with a kick, which Gillian blocked with his wooden shield. Though the shield shattered under the force, Vigeo expressed his frustration, explained that he had dedicated his entire life to making the Ratatosk mercenaries the best in history. He voiced disbelief that his former captain had abandoned everything only to become a mere pawn of a spoiled noble. Drawing several blades, he imbued them with mana and hurled them toward Gillian. Gillian intercepted the attack with his axe, but as he did so, Viego closed the gap and attempted to stab him. Gillian narrowly dodged the strike and countered with an overhead swing of his axe. Vigeo landed just in time to block with his sword. Smiling at the exchange, the clash between them grew more intense, with both men exchanging fierce blows. Vigeo believed that Gillian had not changed from the captain he once admired, though he viewed him as weakened by his years spent searching for a cure for his daughter. In contrast, Viego claimed to have grown stronger through countless battles. He believed that Gillian was no longer his equal. Gillian unleashed a massive swing, which Go dodged by leaping, flipped and landed behind. Gillian, wasting no time, Viego kicked the blades. Gillian had previously blocked, sending them hurtling back toward him. Gillian used his armor to deflect the projectiles, but as he did, Vigeo charged at him. Gillian anticipated the attack and swung his axe, but Vigeo evaded once again, taunting that the fight was over in response. Gillian channeled mana into his hand and caught Vigeo's midst. Strike this axe stunned Viego, who was left speechless. As he realized Gillian had been holding back, Gillian asked if Vigo's pursuit of vengeance was driven by hatred, but Vigeo did not answer. Instead, he stared in disbelief at Gillian's use of mana to seize the blade. Gillian then slammed the head of his axe into Vigeo's face, sending him flying into a nearby tree. Standing over his fallen opponent, Gillian remarked that he did not understand Vigo's actions. He pointed out that Vigeo had had many opportunities to exact revenge, if that was his true intent. Questioning his motives, Gillian asked why Vigeo had not sought him out sooner. Viego laughed bitterly, admitting that he had already visited Gillian's former residence, but had found only a feeble old man, unworthy of death, with anger in his voice. Viego demanded to know what had become of the Gillian he once revered. Gillian tossed Vigeo's dagger to the ground and instructed him to pick it up. He declared that he was now merely a body, bound to another's will, unsheathing his sword. Gillian promised to grant his former comrade the highest level of respect, even in their confrontation. Gillian declared that he would take action as the captain of the Ratas mercenaries, a statement that brought visible satisfaction to Vigeo. Picking up his dagger, Viego charged at him. Gillian blocked the attack, and Viego expressed his joy at finally experiencing the fight he had long desired. The intensity of the battle held his ground with a powerful swing. Gillian aimed to end the fight, but Viego dodged by dropping low and countered swiftly. Gillian parried the attack with his axe, forcing Vigeo's dagger downward before driving his sword into Vigo's ribs. Despite the injury, Viego gritted his teeth and retaliated. Gillian evaded and raised his axe high, pausing momentarily to acknowledge Vigeo as the 5th unit commander of the Ratas. Mercenaries referred to him by his full name, Viego Volos. Hearing this, Viego smiled, but the expression was fleeting as Gillian plunged his blade into him, ending his life with Vigo's lifeless body at his feet. Gillian picked the dagger and stood silently gazing at his fallen comrade. Gillian commended Gillian's efforts, and Belinda remarked on the potential profit from looting the wildcats. Gillian apologized to Jin for causing unnecessary delays, but Jin reassured him, expressing ADM adoration for his exceptional skills reflecting on his early days as a mercenary. Jin admitted that stories about Gillian from his seniors had inspired him and helped lay the foundation for his rise to becoming the mercenary king. This encounter confirmed to Gillian that recruiting Gillian had been the right decision, as he had gained a reliable ally. Jin then asked Gillian if he remembered who Viego had been. Gillian raised Vigo's sword and replied that Viego had been an old comrade. These words resonated deeply with Jin, prompting him to reflect on his own former comrades. He wondered where they were and what lives they were leading, knowing that their paths had diverged long before meeting him, resolving to reconnect with them. One day, Gin instructed the group to follow Belinda's suggestion and gather anything valuable from the wildcats. Belinda ordered Gillian to lead the collection efforts, but Gillian curtly reminded her that he was not her subordinate. 2 days later, the group reached Perum territory. Thank you for watching. See you in next video.